Hello, beautiful people of the internet. Mamzelle Camille here. If this happens to be your first time on the channel, welcome. And if this is not your first time on the channel and you are one of my return peeps, thank you so much for coming back. I do appreciate it. Tonight, we're going to talk about what is coming up in a few hours tomorrow, roughly about 12 or 13 hours from now, and that is the Taurus new moon. So the new moon in Taurus will be happening tomorrow at 4:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For those of us in Central Standard Time Zone, it's going to be 3:01 p.m. So check your local listings to see make the proper time adjustment for wherever you are in the world as to what time zone you're in so that you know exactly when that new moon is exactly occurring. Now, it is at 25 degrees Taurus, which is not a whole lot of time. So, a lot of times I like to look up and see what the degree it is, because from 1 to 30 degrees that each sign passes through, it lets me know about how much time I have or don't have, as the case may be, especially with this moon, in order to be able to do, if I'm going to do a ritual to capture that energy. So, being in that it's going to be at 25 degrees Taurus, ain't a lot of time. It will be moving out of Taurus very quickly. Again, you check and see as to how much time when it's going to be moving, but it's not like, oh, we have a couple of days to work with this or a day or two. So, might want to make your intentions and do whatever kind of rituals you're going to do as close to that 4:01 time Eastern, as close to that time that the new moon is actually happening, because you won't have a lot of time, maybe a couple of hours, maybe till later on in the evening before it pushes past and then 30 degrees and now it's going into another sign. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, of course, some tarot cards that are associated with that Taurus energy and some rituals or intentions that you might want to set. Just give you a few ideas of how you can utilize that energy to the best of your ability. So Taurus is a fixed sign and it is an earth sign. So we're talking earth of earth, fixed of fixed. So that translates to so much energy of consistency, stability, dedication, loyalty. So, of course, that's very earth sign in general, but that is particularly highlighted and emphasized with Taurus as it is a fixed sign. And new moon energy, of course, is about something brand new. It's when the moon is just starting out. So when you look in the sky, that you're not going to actually see a moon, but of course we know she is still there. So new moon energy is a good time to set your intentions of what you want to plant the seeds of, and then to have continue to grow as we're building closer and closer to the full moon. So it gives us roughly about 2 weeks. So some ideas that you might want to play around with or use are candle magic, of course. I'm big on candle magic. You don't have to have it as a part of your practice. It's just something that I'm very attached to having candles lit and candle magic. So bringing in the colors of Taurus. So your earthy colors, any of your greens, your browns. I would say white candles, I always say that are they're always appropriate. Can't ever really go wrong with a white candle. But if you wanted to bring in the color, green and brown, I would say, would be some of the best colors to work with, because that brown, earthiness, grounding, stability, um, and of course, green for vibrancy, lush. And we're in spring, just coming up on summer. So as things are growing, the verdant greens of all of the trees and the leaves and the foliage that's in its beautiful greenery that's, full on at this point. And so you want to work with that energy. Taurus is about, um, again, growth, stability, consistency. Now, the master card in the tarot that is associated with Taurus energy is the Hierophant. And this is from the Dark Wood Tarot. And here we have this, I love the depiction that she has, Sasha Graham, and of course, the amazing Abigail Larson, who is the artist. For the Hierophant, they have chosen to use it as a tree that really brings in the energy of it being a fixed sign, firmly rooted. The Hierophant card has so much to do with stability. It has to do with protocol, doing things in a regimented, systematic order, because systematic order creates the ability for one thing to be built contingent upon the next. All of that really translates into that energy of fixed, firm, reliable, trustworthy. If there's protocol, there's a handbook or a systematic way of doing things, it can lend itself to less margin for error. It lends itself to less stress, less anxiety, because tested, tried, and true ways of doing things. And normally, the Hierophant in original Rider Waite Smith deck, of course, has the literal pontiff, the Pope, with two cardinals or two other members of the clergy standing beneath him. So it's that energy of, and if you grew up Catholic, Catholic in recovery, Catholicism is very systematic, very regimented, very organized. When you go to a Catholic Mass, it's going to be the same anywhere you go. If you go in Rome, if you go to the church here in New Orleans, if you go to a Catholic church in Walla Walla, Washington, consistent. The liturgy is done the same way. You know when to kneel, when to stand, when to genuflect, all of those things. So her Hierophant, I love that she has uh, the creatrix of this deck have again turned it into this tree. So growth while still having firmly rooted stability. And the keys represent opening up to knowledge and wisdom. And you can even see on this deck, they have the glyph for Taurus right here. I love that it's a wise crone. And she has her fingers up in the position that is indicative of when the Pope or the priest is giving a blessing. So you can work with this card, the Hierophant card, as a part of whatever rituals you want to do. So you could have it seated next to your candle. I'm probably going to use, I'm not sure if I'm going to use a green candle or a brown candle, but what I've been doing lately is with new and full moon is drawing the glyph on the candle. I actually have one I'll show you right quick for the, what was this, the um, Aries full moon, Aries new moon. And so you can see the Aries glyph. You can see the glyph for the element of fire, and of course red, because that was what it was for, Aries energy. So you would use the corresponding colors, like we said, green or brown or white. And you might want to draw the glyph for Taurus on and find the glyph for earth energy, which is an upside, it is an upside down triangle, but it has a line through it, inverted from what you see here. That's the glyph for Earth. You might want to look up and see the transits, like as the moon is transiting, where is it transiting in your specific chart? So basically, when you go in to look at a transit chart, it's going to take where the zodiac wheel was at the exact time and location of your birth, but then overlap that and compare to where you are currently located, longitude and latitude wise, and the date and time of this this new moon occurring. And then you can look and see what house. Forgive me, you guys. I am so thirsty. I did a ghost tour tonight, and it's a lot of talking. Forgive me. You can look and see where the moon is transiting in your specific chart, and then you can look and see what house it's transiting through to get really even more specific energy that is very personalized to you as to how you can best utilize this energy for yourself. That's not just the random energy that any of us could work with. So you could have your Hierophant card placed on an altar. You might want to create a space with plants, with lush, greenery, a potted plant, or maybe even getting some leaves and maybe a few branches off of a tree I always say if you're going to get branches off of a tree, ask for permission, maybe leave a few coins, just kind of paying the spirits, paying Mother Nature, paying the elementals. Have flowers on your altar, that earth energy, um, rocks or crystals that you might want to work with. I keep hearing in my head moss agate. So I feel like moss agate could be a really good one. Any of the stones that have to do with root chakra would be good. I would say doesn't match up color correspondence, but still the energies of maybe garnet. Any of the black stones would probably be really good. Obsidian, onyx, any of those. Now, the other cards that you could work with, where am I going to go with this? Empress energy. Because while the Hierophant is represented by Taurus, the Empress has a lot of Taurus energy in her because Taurus is ruled by the planet Venus. And she is very Venusian. And you can see that where they have the glyph for Venus on the card here for the Empress. And I love this Empress as she is heavy laden with child. But again, she's leaning against a tree, so that grounded, supportive earth energy. And as she has her hand to reach out to the branch, to nature, to support her, she has her hand holding where her unborn baby is, almost as a supportive gesture to hold it and to give it, to cradle it and to give it support and nurturing. So the dark wood, because it is a very, very earthy, I would say the element, four elements, this particular deck has a lot of earth energy. It's very earth deck. So if you have this deck, this could be a really good card to work with. And then when you think about Venus, that Venus is about love. She's about love. She's about beauty. She's about opulence, about abundance. And so, in that right, you could work with this new moon energy for tapping into self love, into beauty rituals, into indulging in the things that just because it feels good, just because you want to do it, it feels cozy. So comfort foods. Um, if you are a carnivore, perhaps now it's time to have a really good hamburger, a delicious, perfectly cooked steak. If you're not a carnivore, you could have something like root vegetables would be really good. Potatoes, leeks, onions, garlic, because that energy of grounding and rooted. Now, you could even make a bowl, say maybe quinoa, sweet potatoes, leeks, onions, garlic, all of that beautiful, healthy food. So it could be indulgence in taking care of your physical body and nurturing your own body in that way. Um, you could, again, like I'm feeling beauty rituals, and for with that, I would use again a white candle is perfectly fine, but you might want to lean into a pink candle, that Venusian, divine, feminine energy of the color pink, and rose petals. It would be a good time to do mirror work with regard to your own beauty ritual. So as you're washing, using your cleanser, your moisturizer, talking in the mirror and reaffirming your own beauty and embracing that. Mirror work can be very, very powerful because mirrors are portals, and as you're looking yourself in the eye, until it's an intense thing. Until you're used to doing it, it can be very intense and very unsettling. But so much of this new moon energy has to do with value, because Taurus is very much about, and Venus too, very much about value, what you value, creating more value. So we could pull in Nine of Pentacles energy with it. And here's the Nine of Pentacles from the Dark Wood deck. Nine of Pentacles with Stacey Williams Ung's deck, which my beautiful, beautiful, beloved Maria Who those she's a Sagittarius. I believe she's Taurus rising. Taurus rising or Taurus moon. And the Nine of Pentacles is so much of confidence, being very firmly grounded and rooted in knowing exactly who you are and not willing to have others uproot that or unsettle you. It's very much about, for me, Nine of Pentacles is like the tagline for it for me is, and if you're Gen X, then you will recognize this. It's like Virginia Slims, you come a long way, baby. Or to quote Outcast, like them slim ass cigarettes from Virginia. It has, you've gone through all of the numbers, especially that five where it's no stability, no security, completely lacking resources, to now the nine, independence, confidence, knowing your self value, knowing your worth, commanding respect, um, standing your ground, true to yourself because you know who you are. And it's funny because as I was mentioning mirror energy, mirror work, Maria is literally looking in a mirror in this deck with her beautiful diamond necklace of nine pentacles or nine diamonds around her neck, because Nine of Pentacles is not playing small. It's leaning into that abundance, leaning into that opulence and that value of self. Hold on, I'm gonna look at my notes just right quick. Forgive me, guys, looking down. That's what's going on here. Oh, yeah, literally grounding, going outside, putting your feet in grass, in the earth, going to a park, bringing home beautiful flowers for yourself and keeping them where you can see, but setting your intention as you're placing them in the water, talking to them, thanking them for their beauty that they're bringing in. Thinking about the growth that they had to, the cultivation and nurturing that had to happen for these beautiful flowers to have grown and be able to be present for us. Um, Maybe a spa night, back to self care, treating yourself with spa. Um, Salt in the water would be really good. That grounding energy as well as the purification, but maybe putting the rose petals, putting different oils or your different favorite perfumes into the water to bring about, again, back to that Venusian energy of self love, physically touching your own body as you are combing or brushing your hair, as you're brushing your teeth, as you're putting lotion in your body. Don't do it with the chop, 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 quick, fast, in a hurry. Do it with more slow. Earth is slow energy. Slow can equate to steady, consistent, reliable energy. So while you're putting lotion on or putting your makeup on, doing it with specific intention and care for the process, as well as care for your physical body, this physical vehicle that you are adorning or cleansing or taking care of, you could also, and this is something I think I might do, write on a bay leaf or write on, um, you could write it on a piece of paper, maybe tissue paper, maybe regular paper, but a bay leaf might be really good. And write down the intentions that you're setting for this new moon and bury it. Bury it not with the intention of death, bury it with the intention of light. This is the seeds. So you could work with the Ace of Pentacles in this respect. Ace of Pentacles is all about the new opportunities to plant the seeds, the potential that once it's nurtured and cultivated will turn into something physically manifested. But working with that Ace of Pentacles, writing your intentions based on the things that we're talking about already, but putting that down and putting it into a plant, maybe even getting seeds and planting those seeds, into some soil, and herbs would be good or whatever kind of plant in a pot or down in the ground, with the intention is as this plant grows roots, my intentions are firmly rooted, absorbing the nurturing from Mother Earth, the soil, and then continuing to grow and manifest in physical form for me to harvest at a later time. The last thing I want to mention is that it's so much about finances. this would be a really good time to check with your finances, to balance your budget, maybe to check your budget. But I feel like this energy is also so much about acknowledging what you have with gratitude, which is never a bad time for that. But it's so much about setting new intentions for the kind of financial situation you would like to have, speaking into existence, writing it down, the kind of money you want to bring in, the kind of physical experiences that you want to have, the kind of feeling that you want to have when you look at your bank account and it is what you would want it to be. What does stability and security mean to you specifically in the financial realm, in all other meanings of stability and security, but specifically of money, of finances, so that you can have the finer things in life because you know that you deserve to have the finer things in life. So, this has gone on a little bit longer than I planned, but if you're used to my channel, who's shocked? Who's shocked? No one. I will leave with this last image. And this is one of Chanel Day's beautiful decks. I believe it is called the Moonlit or the Moonlight Tarot. I just keep calling it Chanel's Hecate deck because it is her love letter to Hecate. There's the backs. But look at this gorgeous image of the Empress, completely at home and feeling so comfortable and confident and in her own physicality, in her own body, as well as all the beautiful, lush greenery all around her. So much of abundance, and then the blossoming of the beauty of that Venusian energy with those beautiful moonflowers. So if you are interested in this deck, I'll put a link down to the bottom for Chanel's make playing cards and her YouTube, because unfortunately this deck is going out of print June 30th. So get in where you fit in while you can. I think she has 3 different versions of this, edged, not edged. Look on it, you'll see. But if you are interested in this deck, do not delay. So blessings to all of you. Full moon, new moon blessings in Taurus. May all of us in our community be able to plant the seeds of stability, of security, of personal growth, professional growth, financial growth, and consistency in that respect. Until the next video.